Hello and welcome to First Issues. I'm the Archivist, and we're digging directly into New Warriors #1. Wait, New Warriors? Marvel, are you telling me you've decided to actually relaunch a series that didn't have a comic in the prior year? Well, hot damn. Okay, so last time the New Warriors were around, they were called the Avengers Resistance, and Siege was going on. So where are they now? Oh, okay, so Justice and Speedball are being attacked by Salem 7 because they came to the wrong neighborhood. But that gets sorted out in time. Scarlet Spider is in Mexico with, who the hell's Hummingbird? Okay, then we get to see Sun Girl, or rather a Sun Girl I'm unfamiliar with, flying around New York City. But okay, so what gets these people together? Well, Justice and Vertigo of Salem 7 get jumped by Iron Man-esque things. Sun Girl runs afoul of them too. Ooh, hey, Kid Nova does too. And Kane and Hummingbird get to go to Atlantis with Fiora Namora, or whatever the fuck her name is. So, all this carnage brought to you, in part, by the High Evolutionary, a trademark of "Why are you still around, dude? Unlimited." If you couldn't tell by that summary, I'm pretty behind the times on these characters. I know Scarlet Spider had his own ongoing for a bit, but I never really read it after issue 1, where I thought the premise would wear thin pretty quick, but to each their own. But the rest of these are also characters that I haven't seen active in forever. But that's just me. So with that in mind, I think that this was great issue 0 for the team. I say issue 0 because they aren't even remotely a team by the end of this, and I don't even think they are on each other's radar. Though, obviously, by the end of this entire storyline, they will be. But Chris Yost's writing is fairly alright. It's very Marvel now in its execution, though Justice actually makes passive references to their previous exploits, and Vertigo bringing up the Stanford incident that caused the Civil War was pretty. Wow! An annotation box? I haven't seen one of those in forever. But okay, so it's got its good moments, though Speedball grates on me personally. It's just how the character is written and how he's meant to be. Though, even before, I think the only time he never annoyed me was when he was Penance, but what about the art? Marcus Tozar and David Curiel's coloring are pretty decent, though there's a bit of a moment sometimes in the sequential art. Like, I get that they wanted to pose Scarlet Spider, but it was a mugging that he just happened by in his civvies. So why would he take the time to change, then make a giant web just to scare them before, it just was weird to me. Overall, my verdict for this seems to be like most other Marvel Now books. It's worth a read if you're interested. It's worth a buy if you're a big fan, but wait for the trades to really pick up any hard copies, since the story is going to take a few issues to get the actual team together. 1938, somewhere in the Pacific, a group arrives on an island to ask locals about a mysterious lost island with mountains of gold and rubies the sizes of a man's fist. They fail to get any real information, then go back to the free port of South Haven. We get to see the captain, Jack Harper, get into a bar fight and act like a pretty stock adventurer from the good old pulp era. And the Nick Fury looking Mr. Taylor gives us the rundown of the rest of the characters before Captain Jack refuses his job offer. They do a medical supply run that turns into a trap. Dun dun dun! Written by Kel Simons, this is probably the best period adventure piece I've read in a good long while. For anyone who's not really familiar with the pulp adventure genre, Indiana Jones is the best known example, but even he was based on the old serialized adventures that would take you across the globe into sweaty jungles as natives tried to kill you so they could eat your sweet, delicious brains. Okay, so there's not really a hell of a lot of that in this, but it's a first issue that covers not only giving us who the cast of characters we'll be exploring with are, but also some great characterizations and even a fun subversion of the hostile natives trope. Now for the art. All of the art is handled by Matthew Reynolds, and it's not bad. It's not breathtaking or artistically the Sistine Chapel, but it's still quite good and has several moments where you could easily think that it was a pulp novel cover instead of just good sequential art. My verdict on this is pretty clear. If you enjoy adventure books, or Indiana Jones, or really any pulp novel not pertaining to a detective, then get a hard copy of this. This is definitely worth it. If you're unsure, give it a read on the shelf, then buy it. I really want to see support for this book rise because it's my personal favorite genre, and I would love to see it become a real thing again. I know, this comic is already over a month old. Why is it on first issues where all my comics are new and fresh? Honestly, I sort of hinted at this before, since Superman Wonder Woman wasn't as fresh as a lot of the other comics, but basically about a month, give or take a couple days, is my cutoff time for first issues. It's why The Saviors, which came out in late 2003, and Battle of the Atom, which came out around the same time, were in flashback firsties instead of on first issues. Plus, this Friday, Injustice comes to binging on comics, so this is an apt review. Apt, I tells ya! So anyways, let's dig into Tom Taylor being awesome with Injustice Year 2, number 1. But before I do, again, I really want to say that there's going to be spoilers. Very, very heavy spoilers. And if you honestly want to skip this until the Binging on Comics for Injustice comes out, I understand. I'll even add an annotation in here somewhere when it does come out, so you can just jump over to that and pick up where you left off here. Okay, I'm done postponing and warning and everything like that. So the story starts with a flashback to when Dinah protected Ollie's honor with some bikers. Now, are you guys sure you're ready for the spoiler? Though, to be fair, if you've already played the game, it's not so much a spoiler as backstory, so... Anyways, you sure? Last chance to turn around. Okay. So, we cut to the present where we're at Oliver Queen's funeral. For those in the know, this is a follow-up to the last issue of the first year of the Injustice comics. For those that also know the history between Green Arrow and Green Lantern, we see Hal heartbreakingly still standing with Superman, even though Superman was the one who killed Oliver Queen. But as everyone leaves the funeral, we then see Superman trying to apologize to Black Canary. But obviously that's not going to work, especially since Black Canary is fighting for two now. But so Superman flies off and Canary gives a communique to Oracle. That's pretty much it. Tom Taylor is still awesome, but I'll go into the whys on that on Friday. So I'll go into Bruno Redondo's art, since I wasn't able to really get a lot of that done in Binging on Comics. His art is really quite good, and kind of awesome. He's worked on Injustice before, though being one of the several other artists over the first year's run. But here it works really well and keeps a flowing feel with the rest of the series without being stale or stagnant. My only gripe with these, and it's the same for all of the Injustice comics, but it's not really a gripe so much as they always feel really, really short. Unless you're reading them back to back to back, in which case they give you a great story, but you always feel slightly hollow at the end. Am I horribly biased when reading this? Definitely. Should I not have done this? Probably. Is this really the start of a story? Not even a little. But on that bombshell, I'm the Archivist, and I'm out of here to go get started on that Binging on Comics. Do 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 do. Oh do 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 do.